Hello, this is Johnny Henson, Professor Poole with Billiard University out of Phoenix, Arizona. What I'm going to talk to you a little about in this lesson is how to use your shot percentages to your advantage. A lot of players don't even give a lot of thought to what kind of percentage certain shots in their game are. Let's say you're really good at just pocketing balls, for the most part. But let's say when you take, let's say, a long cut shot, let's say that your percentages are, let's say, 40% or 30%. Well, then you already know the odds are not in your favor to shoot that particular shot. Now you may have to, you may be in a position where your back's against the wall and you just have no choice. But what I would like for every one of you players to do, and I recommend this to my students all the time, and when I'm teaching class or when I'm giving private lessons, that you really, really need to know your shot percentages, at pretty much all the time. So let's say that let's just say you're practicing, and let's say that you take let's say a notebook to practice with you, and let's say so you can line up 10 shots or 20 shots, but try to do them in increments of 10, because then it just makes it real simple to multiply it out. So let's say I shoot 10 shots. Well, then, if I make six of them, then I'm 60%. Likewise, let's say I shoot 20 of a certain shot and I make 12, well, then I'm still 60%. So basically, whether you try to do everything in increments of 10, it just keeps it simple that way. Okay, so let's just say that you're going to start by shooting, let's say, 10 long shots, or 10 long cuts, or 10 bank shots, or 10 combos, whatever the shot modality is, and you can have a lot of them. Now, what you're going to do is when you're playing your games, you're going to run into situations where you're going to get up to the table, and let's say your long cuts are, a 30% shot. You're just not very good at them. So let's just say that that's the case. Well, now you may be looking at a dilemma where you have this long cut shot, and even if you make the shot, which the odds are against you, then you may not leave yourself well. But you may look around the table and you may say, wow, I can tap my ball and go right behind the eight ball and play really a lockdown safety. Now you've just increased your odds of winning for maybe 30% chance you're going to win and 70% chance you're going to lose, to now that if this person kicks and gives you ball in hand, you may just run the rack, and that's 100%. Okay, so this is just one example of what I share with students in class is knowing your percentages. Then you keep everything that you're doing when you're competing, whether you're in a league or whether you're in a tournament situation. You really, really need to be using these percentages to keep the odds always in your favor. Now, another thing too is there is going to be shots that are generally low percentage. Like maybe kick shots are not going to be maybe a real high percentage. In certain banks are not going to be what I consider really high percentage shots. But you need to practice those, and you need to accept that. Give you some idea when you run into, let's say that you're shooting banks, and let's say that that's not your strong point. Let's say you're a 25% banker. That means for every four that you shoot, you make one and you miss three. Okay, that's reality. I mean, there's a lot of people that fit in that category. Well, then what you might do when you're confronted with a bank shot like this, and knowing that your percentages is not in your favor, then you might actually play a two-way shot. You may say, okay, I'm going to go for this bank, but I'm going to send my cue ball down and put it on the rail. Now, if I make the bank, well then, yeah, I got my shot in the corner pocket and no problem. But I got a plan on this bank not making it. So that's an example of a two-way shot. So therefore, you make the bank, you got your ball in the corner, boom, 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 you run and you finish the game. Let's say you bank and you miss the eight. Well then, not the eight, but the ball you were shooting at. Well then, you've got your opponent all the way down on the end rail, and maybe he's got a really difficult shot, or maybe even a bank shot himself. And so that's an example of knowing your percentages is going to make you think, not just go, basically not just shoot for the bleachers and hope everything turns out good, because that's not a very good game plan, because usually it don't. Okay. Um, so anyway, so basically, as you practice, what I would like for you to do is start writing down your percentages, in each category, whether it be banking, long shots, caroms, combinations, whatever that is. And then what I would like for you to do is realize you can use these two ways. You can also use these, naturally when you're playing games to keep the percentages in your favor. But you could also use those statistics over time to see how you're improving. So let's say that you're a 25% banker and you start shooting, 20, 30 banks a day. And then let's say a month later, you're at 40%. Well, then statistically, you're a lot better banker now than you were a month ago. And that gives you some incentive in practice, that realizing that you're not just wasting your time, that you're actually progressing. So anyway, this lesson is directed not only to a lot of the people that watch YouTube, but also a lot of my students out there, because your percentages is going to always put you in a position where you're not only you're playing your best game, but you're giving yourself the best chance to win. So anyway, I hope that this lesson has been useful. And I just want to say one thing. Good luck and good shooting.